Welcome to our presentation. Today, Clara, Julie, Guillaume, Arthur and I are going to be presenting the placebo effect. We'll start by a description of the placebo effect, and then we'll illustrate the bias, and then finally we'll give real-world examples. So the placebo effect is a cognitive bias where the substance has no medicinal value, for example, a sugar pill that does not contain the medication. A Harvard Medical School article published in 2017 on the power of the placebo effect states that under the right circumstances, a placebo can be just as effective as traditional treatments. They do not shrink a tumour or kill a virus, but they work on symptoms modulated by your brain, like your perception of pain, simply making you feel better. Placebos often work because people do not know that they are getting one, which is why both the focus group and the control group of an experiment appear to receive the same treatment. The purpose of a placebo is to evaluate the effectiveness of a drug. If both the control group that take the placebo and the test group that take the drug both recover, then the drug is deemed ineffective. How placebos work is still not quite understood, but it involves a complex neurobiological reaction that includes everything from increases in feel-good neurotransmitters, like endorphins and dopamine, to greater activity in certain brain regions linked to moods, emotional reactions, and self-awareness. The ritual of going into a lab, being given what you believe to be a drug by a doctor, all certainly has a profound impact on how the body perceives symptoms because they believe to be getting care. The placebo effect is caused by more than just the tablet itself.
In order to understand the bias, we'll illustrate it with a study done in 2014 led by Kapchuk, published in the Science Translational Medicine. The aim of the study was to understand how people react to medication for migraines. So one group took a drug to help with migraines, the second one took a placebo, and the third group took nothing. According to the results of the experiment, the placebo was deemed 50% as effective as a real drug to reduce pain after a migraine attack. The researchers speculated that the driving force beyond this reaction was the simple act of taking a pill. People associate the ritual of taking medicine as a positive healing effect, say Kapchuk. Even if they know it's not medicine, the action itself can stimulate the brain into thinking the body is being healed.
Now that we have explained what the placebo effect is and what it can do, we would like to show you how the placebo effect works in our daily life and on a daily basis. Most of you already know the example of placebo in medicine, and that's why we decided to provide you with a new and different method and example that isn't linked to medicine. You will agree with us that you press buttons almost every day. It can be the button for your doorbell, the button for the elevator, the button for the crosswalks, or even the button for a vending machine. It is a reflex born of years of habit. You see a button, you press it, and then something happens. By pressing buttons, we have an illusion of control which fulfills us. The thing about buttons, though, is there seems to be some invisible magic taking place between the moment you press them and when you get the expected result. You can never really be sure you caused the soft drink to appear without opening up the vending machine to see how it works. Maybe there's even someone in the machine watching which button you press, and this is the person responsible for giving you the soda through the machine. In fact, some buttons in modern day life don't actually do anything at all. They're just here to comfort us. And the magic between the button press and the result you want is all in your head.
So now let's have a look at one example, and we are going to talk about the close the door button that you can find in the elevator. So perhaps a situation you are facing on a daily basis. In fact, a significant percentage of the closed door button in the world don't do anything at all in the end. But why? Well, it can be due to several factors. Maybe the button was never wired up, maybe it was set to delay, maybe it was deactivated by the owner, or really simply maybe it broke a long time ago and no one ever complained because people kept pushing this button and the doors of the elevator kept closing. So no matter if the button is working well or not, if you press the closing the door button and that later on the doors close, a blast of happiness will cascade through your brain, because we are convinced that what we believe is actually a response to our action. However, you cannot really notice this blast of happiness, but this spurt will basically reinforce your behavior, and this is why you will keep pushing the button the next time. Non-functioning mechanisms like this, and which motivate you to fool yourself, are called the placebo buttons, and they are everywhere in our daily life. Close the door button is just one example among many other placebo buttons, like the button you see on crosswalks every day. You think that by pushing such a button, the green light will appear sooner so you can cross the road and perhaps save some time in your day, but traffic system is already organized in a very detailed way. I mean, green lights will last a certain amount of time, and then the pedestrian will be able to cross the road for, again, a certain amount of time, which was calculated before, and therefore no accident or rearrangement of the lights will happen, even if you press the button on the crosswalks.
As we can see, placebo are present in our everyday lives. It is important to acknowledge, control our expectations, and understand the way they work in order to prevent and neutralize them. This is especially true when dealing with medication. Nocebo effects are avoidable when risk information is always directly combined with positive aspects, such as the benefit of a treatment. Existing negative expectations are disrupted by providing more alternative options and by leaving negative experiences in the past where they belong. Placebo and nocebo effects are strongly sensitive to the context. They are dependent on the experiences and the conceptions of an individual patient, as well as on the physician and patient relationship. The latter can provide the best protection against harm from risk disclosure. In addition, the expectations of patients and their consequences are also strongly affected by the media, fellow patients, and society. All in all, placebos are in some ways a lot like superstitions. You do something in the hopes of an outcome. If you get the outcome, you keep the superstition. Dancing to bring the rain, sacrificing a goat to get the sun to rise. Turns out, these are a lot like pressing the button at the crosswalk over and over again. Your brain doesn't like randomness, so it tries to connect a cause to every effect. And when it can't, you make one up.